How are you
Perfect.
doing?
Wonderful.
How are you doing, David?
I'm doing fine. Thank you.
No, well, welcome to the show. I'm really excited to talk to you. You've got so much material actually to really explore. But to begin with, let's give yourself a bit of an introduction, you know, who you are, where you're from, and how long you've been doing music, and then we can dive right in.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, I'm David from Dortmund in Germany, and I've been making music for more than 10 years now. I guess I started in 2011 and had my first release in 2013. And yeah, well, in 2011 I founded this music project, which I keep on with, called Present Paradox. So yeah.
Yes. Where does the name come from, Present Paradox, for you?
Well, that's a difficult story to start with, because when I was 21, I really was into some books like Paul Watzlawick. He is writing about communication problems and stuff, and he had his own series about paradox and stuff, and I was really into it, and that was shaped the name of the project, actually.
Amazing, amazing. And so you said you kind of started releasing in 2013. I mean, you have many singles, many LPs and EPs. I guess what has been the biggest challenge that you've faced, and maybe also the biggest lesson you've learned to kind of take forward in your music career?
Well, yeah, I got 8 releases now and a few singles that I've put out. Well, the biggest challenge actually is always after the end of the process, after the end of recording stuff and mixing and such. It's to get the music out to the people, to the listeners. So the whole process of marketing, or so, how do you want to call it? And it's sometimes as time intensive as recording, you know. And it's really exhausting as well, you know. You have to send out emails and emails and emails and emails to a lot of people and saying, "Oh, please listen to my music."
Yeah.
And you don't know what it brings at the end of it. So that's. But I learned that this kind of marketing stuff, or how do you want to call it, is also part of the music game, and that was one of the biggest lessons to me. That making music can be fun and can be fulfilling, but making music is also simply work to do, you know?
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, I've spoken to a lot of artists, and that comes up again and again and again. You know, I think for listeners, music obviously speaks for itself. You have great music, yeah. Really a great catalogue for people to explore. But the time it takes to create these things isn't just, oh, you sit in a studio one day and it comes to you and then you play. It's not like magic in that way. Maybe it does for some, but even then there's a whole, you know, there's a whole game to play in terms of marketing and talking about yourself. And for a lot of artists, myself included, it was a challenge to talk about yourself, because you don't often try and sell who you are as an artist. Like, having the talent is great, but then you have to kind of sell you know, who you are and what you stand for. So that is another challenge. But if I could maybe ask you, for those who haven't heard your music before, how would you describe your music to them, and why would it be worth listening to your music?
Well, it depends on the album actually you are listening to. Well, because I'm trying to push, that's also another challenge. I'm trying to push myself forward and not to get stuck on one place. I'm just trying to go from electronic to rock, back to electronic, again to rock. And well, my music is mostly, some people say when they are in a concert, it's not like dancing. It's also good to close the eyes to and to get stuck into it's a bit more atmospheric stuff, you know?
Right, right. I think anyway, I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to your music. So if anyone is watching this back on YouTube, please do go check out. All the links will be in the description. I would say, yeah, it's a great sense of atmosphere. And I think being somebody who produces music, and maybe not like a vocalist in that sense, there's so much more story you put into music. I have one of the previous episodes, I had another producer who talks about actually some of the challenges are bigger when you don't have vocal fronts to a track, because you have to take them on that journey that you're on, and you do that especially well, which is, you know, I'm a fan of the music, so you've got one fan in me, definitely. It brings me on to Ignorance is Bliss, which is coming off the upcoming album. Yes, is that correct?
It's released already. Yeah.
The album's released as well.
What was the single?
Yes. So you know, you've got some visuals also. So talk to us about the choice of the single and that dark memory-like visual that you've created. Where did that come from for you?
So you mean the music video?
Yes.
Well, that's complicated. Actually, a video was supposed to be made for a completely different song from the album, but that couldn't be released. I realized, there was no funding, so we had to do the video with much less money, and it still had to be an interpretation of the song itself, and it still had to work. So the video was very much inspired by silent film movies and silent film aesthetics. And the whole video is supposed to be a kind of satire, so like something like a harsh overdriving of real events that happened here in Germany during the pandemic. You know, for example, a boulevard paper or a yellow press paper had a real goal on a real well-known scientist, and I've packed all that stuff into the video and into the song as well, and yeah, that's how it came out. That's how it came out.
Yeah, no, that's that makes sense. That's how it was released. We do have a comment here, which I'm not sure is in German, but I can't tell what that says. So yeah, no, thank you for joining the live today. So with the pandemic, how was that experience for you? For me, it was I guess, in a way, a lot more like my work was to do with meeting people. You know, I was a community manager. I had to work, you know, in that space. But at the start, for me, was a challenge, right? It was for a lot of people, it's such a new thing to happen for you. But then I just, you know, noticed like forming communities online, being able to talk to even yourself, right? You're in Germany. I've very grateful that I've come across your music, but I'm also very grateful that we can connect in this way. How has your experience been during the pandemic, and has social media helped with that?
Oh, well, there were many different shapes of this experience, I would say. The first one was a bit like a shock, like fear, like what is happening right now? Am I able to deal with that? What's happening is right now? I guess some people were not. Mm-hmm. And some people have really strong struggles. But on the other hand, I'm a musician, and all concerts were cancelled, and that was really a difficult time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, on the other hand, I was trying to focus on what I can do and how can I deal with the situation. And one way is to write music, and that's how the new album actually came to light, because of this pandemic. Mm-hmm. Because my plan was actually to tour with the album before that for a longer period. Yeah,
I mean, you know, for a lot of musicians also, breaks are really useful. You know, it can be difficult to take a break because you need to start building a following and you need to be consistent, and there's so much pressure. But it is important to take breaks. So was the pandemic a break for you, or have you taken a break in your career before? And how important do you think it is for other artists to do the same?
Well, I never took a really long break, actually, because during the last time I was releasing really year after year a new album because I just had to feel to release it, to make new music. Don't get stuck. Keeping on. But yeah, well, during the pandemic time, the break forced me also to dive deeper into older sketches of songs I've forgotten about, and I was just going through my computer and watching it and playing old music sketches I had and just thinking, wow, that's good. Why don't try this one and turn it into a real song? And yeah, so it was a break, sort of a break, but it was also a sort of refocusing on things.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I noticed you also described the meaning behind the latest project as mainly about entering a new stage or a new part of your life, and you're not sure what is coming next. What does that mean for you? And was that also the uncertainty around the pandemic, around that?
Oh, I guess this quote is from the album before, from Rates to Tomorrow.
Yes, yeah.
Which is quite interesting because it was foreshadowing some feelings that have come later to many people. But yeah, that was a time of my life where I had to finish with something, and I wasn't sure what the new thing I'm about to enter will bring to me. Everybody knows such phases. For example, when you change a job and you don't know if the new job will fit, or if you will get fired, or if you will be accepted. So there is this feeling of uncertainty, and it's like feeling you're closing one door and you opening the other one. And this moment I try to capture is this in between place, When the one door is closed, but the other one isn't open. So that was this phase of my life. I tried to capture it with Rates to Tomorrow. And the interesting thing is that sort of feelings that I had during this period have later been coming to a lot of people through the pandemic, through this kind of break, because nobody didn't know really what comes next.
Yeah, it's maybe you did foreshadow something that's happened for a lot of people, which is super interesting. What I also noticed is that you have a series on YouTube called Home Sessions. How is that like for you? Is that a platform that you've explored a lot? And how did that connect you maybe with some of your fans and listeners?
Yeah, I really enjoying recording these because it's like a mixture of live performance and studio performance. So I'm performing live, but in a real control setting, so I can record as many times as I like to until I got a good take. And I'm always trying to play new and old songs in a very reduced way, so like an acoustic session. So the great thing about the home sessions is that I always record them quite before Christmas or around Christmas, and it's a kind of a way for me to end up the year musically. And I think those sessions are quite intimate. People. I really hope that people are connecting through my performance to the music in a different way than they will do when they're just listening to the record.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it gives you almost a little bit of a different take to the material that you have out there, because it is a little bit more stripped back. And also seeing you perform, I think that's it's great to watch. It's great to connect with the person behind the music. So I definitely have enjoyed watching those sessions. I hope. Do you plan to continue this as a series, or is this so amazing?
I'm doing this since 2014, and I won't stop. So it's
amazing.
Really to keep on.
What motivates you then? What's the thing that you feel has keeping has kept you, sorry, very driven to explore music in this way? And you know, you've been doing it for a long time. What drives you? A lot of artists, I'm a new artist, I've only started since the pandemic, so already you start to see some of the moments of burnout, like you're so tired of certain things, and like you said, the marketing and this and this and this. What has kept you going?
Well, listening to other music and listening to different music, and that brings you sort of inspiration. And music for me is also a platform to deal with certain things, obviously, and I don't want to give up that. Actually, that's quite simple.
Yeah.
I guess. Well, and I have, of course, I have my sort of role models, idols, and when I see they keep on, I guess I'm just saying to me, oh, if they can do that, you can do that as well. Why not?
Yeah. And who are some of those idols for you? Who has inspired you in your journey?
Oh, obviously, some people won't be surprised. It's Radiohead, Tom York stuff, but it's also something like crowd rock, ambient electronic music, sometimes jazz. It keeps on
changing, yeah, and evolving. Yeah,
changing, yeah.
that's amazing. Okay, so when we go back to the latest album, Caesura, is that how you pronounce it, Caesura? What does that mean, firstly, for our listeners? And maybe what's the inspiration behind that, you know, the 8 tracks?
Yeah, well, yeah, as I said, the pandemic period has influenced the album very much, and the pandemic feels like Caesura for me. But I also allowed that to happen. I allowed the pandemic time, the pandemic feelings to shape the music I'm doing. But on the other hand, I wanted to do something completely different from Racer Tomorrow. So Racer Tomorrow was really focusing on synthesizer, on electronics and stuff, and I really want to achieve a completely different sound with more real guitars, more real drums, and a bit more dirty, a bit more distortion in the sound. And yeah, but that didn't start like that. I mean, the first song on the album is also the first song I've written for this one, and I would say this first song would also fit into the album before, because it's very keen on synth and ambient stuff, but yeah, well, it has developed into that direction of more art rock sound.
Yeah, you can definitely see that flow, I think, between the, you know, material that you've released. Is there a kind of goal in the next the next material? I know it might be too early to think about your next project, but do you have an idea of which kind of, like, sonically where you'll be going, or do you have an idea about concept?
Not really yet. My focus is at the moment to translate those songs that they're gonna work on stage. So I want to perform again, and that's what keeps my attention musically, to get those songs on stage. And I want them not to be too much atmospheric this time. I want them to be a bit more have some sort of power, some sort of energy, and that's why I have support, and a friend will support me playing bass live and all that stuff. We keep developing right now and see how it works.
Amazing. Do you have any upcoming live shows?
Well, the first gigs are in January. I hope they're gonna work.
Yes.
I hope they're gonna stay and COVID doesn't come back too bad.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. You have a lot of time to kind of see how they can. What I really love is, especially with like this kind of ambient electronic sound, is being able to really change arrangement for live performance. I think it's a fun process. Might be, sometimes frustrating, but it's a lot of fun to explore it differently. So good luck on the shows. I'm very excited for that. And where do you see, I guess, your future? If we hopefully we stay in touch in 5 years' time, if I was to come and interview again, where would you like to be in your career? The big question.
But main goal is just to keep on. That's simply the main goal. Keep releasing stuff, keeping pushing myself to new boundaries, to new territories. Well, I don't know, maybe in 5 years or maybe in 10 years I will doing some jazz music. I don't know. Yeah. Where it keeps going. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the best guitar player, so maybe I'm gonna improve my skills, and yeah, we will see where it ends.
Amazing. And maybe any final words to upcoming musicians that might be listening and watching from the experience you've had. What would be a takeaway? What would you love to give to pass on to the future artists of tomorrow?
Oh, well, it's interesting that you say that you guess I'm an experienced musician, but
I think you've been doing music since, you've been releasing, apart from when you even started doing music, but you've been releasing music from 2013. So, and you've released a lot of material. So.
Well, yeah, it's a long time, but I also have my daytime job, so it feels like in between hobby and professional, and I don't know where it really stays. But yeah, but I guess you can say that not to focus on the professional side, but to focus on the love for making music and the fun and the good side. So forget about all the stuff I said before about marketing and all the work it is. At the end of all, it's also a thing I don't want to give up anymore. So
amazing.
I guess you got the message.
Yes, never give up and keep going for your dreams. I think it's a great message to have. David, it's honestly been a pleasure talking to you. I'm so excited to have connected with you because I love your music. I think it's right up my street. I love atmospheric music, and if anyone is watching, please do go check out the catalogue of music because it's such a range. There's such concepts between each EP and LP, each single. It's very cleverly done in my opinion, and I've thoroughly enjoyed exploring your music. So thank you again for joining me on the show. Where can people find you? Maybe give your social handles and all that.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at Present Paradox. You can, I have a website, presentparadox.eu. I have Facebook, YouTube, so you find me everywhere. Just Google Present Paradox and I will be the first result.
I will put all the links in the description anyway. Please, guys, do go follow him. Home Sessions also on his YouTube channel, all Spotify. Go support the material. David, thank you. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you next
time. See you soon.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.